Good day, everyone. Good evening. My name is Israel Michael, and I'm here again from LogTech for this 5 days online bootcamp training. And we are looking at cybersecurity and ethical hacking. Since Monday, we have been on this training. On Monday, we looked at the essentials of cybersecurity, and also we delved into um, the how to install our virtual machine, that is our hacking lab, how to set up our hacking lab. Also, we went on into phishing attacks being yesterday on Wednesday. So today being Thursday, we would be looking at wireless attacks. Okay, we learned phishing attacks yesterday. We'll be looking at wireless attacks today. Now, but before that, I have a bonus I want to give us in regarding yesterday class. Okay, so I'm going back to my slide, and at the moment I have just an additional bonus to our class yesterday on phishing attacks. Now we were able to learn how to create a phishing link, how to simulate a scenario whereby a company can even be attacked, okay, whereby if we can send a mail to a victim, whatever the case may be, and once they click on that link, they can put in their credentials and then we harvest their login. But in this case, currently, I want to give you a bonus on how to prevent phishing. Now, there is an advanced technology that I want to introduce you to. In fact, I'm going to introduce you to two of them. Okay. Number one is called domain key identified mail, or you can say DKIM. Now, domain keys identified mail is an email authentication method designed to detect forged sender addresses in emails, okay, which is a common tactic that is used in phishing attacks. Like I said in our last class, that we can send an email to a victim and the sender address can be what we want it to be. But these domain keys identifier mails can help us to uncover the actual sender of an email. So it's a technology that I will recommend to companies to incorporate into their mailing system. Okay, so how does this DKIM works? Number one, it works with what we call digital signature. So what is a digital signature in this case? When an email is sent, this DKIM adds a digital signature to the email's header. The email's header involves the sender address and some other vital information. So right now, this signature is created using the sender's private key. Okay, so every every email header would have a signature, and then number two, the public key in the DNS. So now the sender's public key is published in the DNS records of the sender's domain, and based on that public key in the DNS, the email that is received would have been, tried and verified to ensure that the digital signature is matching the sender address. Okay, so we can cross-check mails with the sender address, okay, using DKIM. Anyways, it's a little bit complex due to setting it up for companies, but if you want to learn more about it, you can enroll for the cybersecurity course, or you can simply contact LogTech for that training. By the way, I want to remind you, please, if you are following right now, I would like you to follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. Please click the like, follow, or subscribe button so that we can always be able to offer you better contents next time. Thank you for clicking on that link. For clicking on that button, and I look forward to you doing that. So thank you very much. So going on, today we'll be looking at wireless attacks. How do we achieve that? So we are talking on wireless attacks part 1. So today would be the part 1 of our wireless attacks, or you can say network attacks. They are the same thing. So going on, I will be talking about some key concepts in this training. Number 1, I'll be talking about network basics. I'll talk about MAC address. Then I will also talk about the wireless card adapter, and then a MAC changer. Okay, so going on, let's see how to achieve today's task. So first of all, we'll be discussing network basics. The question is, what is a network? A network is a group of 2 or more devices that are connected to each other with the aim of sharing data, or you can say resources. Okay, so when you bring several machines together, I mean several computers together, it can be a printer, it can be a phone, it can be a laptop, it can be a desktop, it can even be your TV. Now, when you bring these things together, that togetherness, that grouping is called a network. That connection is called a network. Okay, so a network contains a number of different computer systems that are connected by a physical or wireless connection, like a server or a router. Okay, so this is just the overview of what networking is entirely. So going on, you can see I have a diagram on the screen here, where on the right you can see that I have the globe sign, which signifies the internet, and in the middle I have a router, and to my left I have 3 devices which can simulate your laptops, your television, your phone, your printers, name them, all your computer devices. Now you see all these devices, they are connected to a router, and then the router serves as a gateway taking these devices to the internet. So we can have multiple connections. Like, for example, you are at home and you have a connection between your device and your router. That your router also has a connection between itself and the network. So that is called the internet. Your connection in your house is now connected to a bigger connection for the globe. Okay, so we call that internet. All right, going on. Also, I want us to understand another key concept when it comes to networking attacks, because in this class we need to understand these basics so that we can carry out our hack tonight. Now, the very first thing we are going to achieve today is how to play with MAC addresses. You know, people can be tracked. Example, maybe you are far away in China, you're far away in London, you're far away wherever you are, and you think, or you are wondering, how come people are being tracked wherever they are? They are being tracked using one of the most wonderful and popular addresses in their system, and it is called the MAC address. How does police track stolen phones? MAC address. Now, there are several ways to do this thing, but at the moment, I want to talk about what a MAC address is. So what then is a MAC address? A MAC address simply means media access control address. So what is it then? It is the distinct serial number, okay, given for each interface from the factory by its vendor. What this means is that when you buy a device, that your device, your computer, is of course a computer, of course, like one piece. But you see, that one piece that you call a computer is made up of several pieces, okay, several parts. We call them components. Now, one crucial component in your computer are called network adapters, or we can say network interfaces. All right. Now, this your network interface, a manufacturer manufactured it. And when he manufactured it, he gave it an address. What is this interface? This interface is what enables your device to connect to a given network. Have you ever wondered how come your laptop can connect to a network? Okay, it is possible because there is a network interface. It's like a small chip. It's called an NIC, a network interface card. It's a small chip in your laptop embedded in your laptop's motherboard or even your phone's motherboard, it supports your phone or your laptop to connect wirelessly to a network, and then you can now have connectivity. So that small chip has a MAC address. So when they are tracking you, they are tracking that chip. They're not tracking your screen. Your screen has no MAC address or your keyboard. They are actually tracking your network interface. As long as your network interface is active, you are on a network, you can be tracked using the MAC address. Now, I'm going to tailor this discussion to MAC address in hacking. So, what is the use of MAC address when it comes to hacking? There are two main reasons why we need to understand MAC address in this class. Number one, MAC address can be used to impersonate another computer on a network, usually a Wi-Fi connected PC. Now, this is commonly used to bypass, in cybersecurity, we call it MAC filtering. Now, what is MAC filtering? MAC filtering is a cybersecurity technique that we use to protect our networks, to avoid unauthorized users from connecting to our network. For example, you have a router and you don't want anybody to connect to that router. What you have to do is that you have to go to the router and then you whitelist a particular range of MAC addresses. For example, let's say it's a company. So you go to each person's laptop and you get their MAC addresses. You go to the router, you log into the router, and then inside the router now, you are going to whitelist. That means you are going to configure the router to only accept connection from devices bearing the stated MAC addresses you are configuring on that router. So any device that the MAC address is not on that list, the router is going to reject its connection. Okay, so that technique is called MAC filtering. Now, since we know that there is MAC filtering being a security technique, there is a way to break it. And that way to break it is if we can impersonate a device. Your MAC address for your laptop is like the biometrics for a human being. You cannot change it, okay? It's CARICOM from the maker, from the manufacturer. The same thing with you too. Your fingerprints are CARICOM from your creator, okay? So your creator gave you a print, and anywhere you go to, you can be tracked with it, all right? So in this same vein, your computer is peculiar with its MAC address. But now we can copy a computer's MAC address and make it to be our own temporarily, and then we can log in impersonating the authorized or known device. Okay, so using MAC address in ethical hacking, you can bypass things like MAC filtering. Okay, you can log into networks that the login requires your MAC address to be verified. And if your MAC address is not verified, you will be logged out. Okay, so with this knowledge today, I'm going to teach you how to log even to Wi-Fi's that they use MAC address to authenticate. It doesn't matter how they configure it, you will be able to crack it. Cracking networks has never been easy. And in this course, I'm going to show you how to achieve that at the snap of your finger. As simple as with just a button, you can achieve that. Number two, why do we need to understand MAC address in ethical hacking? Because MAC address can be used to track a computer over time across different sessions and networks. Okay, so basically all you need is the MAC address when it comes to cracking Wi-Fi passwords. Please keep this in mind. When it comes to cracking Wi-Fi passwords, MAC addresses are very crucial, and you're going to see that as we progress in the practicals of this course. Going on. Now, I'll be talking about how we are going to play with MAC address today. So what is MAC address spoofing? MAC address spoofing is the ethical hacking technique that we can use to, change our MAC address. So like I said, changing the MAC address can help you to bypass certain network restrictions by emulating an unrestricted MAC address, or by, we can say, spoofing a MAC address that is already authorized. So for example, we have a Wi-Fi network that may allow only authorized computers to connect to the network, and then it filters out computers based on the verified MAC addresses. This brings us to what MAC spoofing is. This is a technique of changing a factory assigned media access control, which is MAC. So this is a technique of changing a factory assigned MAC address that has been given to a network interface on a networking device. So let's say your MAC address is ABC, for example. You can temporarily change your MAC from being ABC to being DEF, for example. Okay, just for the moment. So we are going to see how we can achieve that. We can achieve that using this tool you can see on the screen, a Wi-Fi adapter. So in this course, you will need to have this tool with you. By the way, if you don't have it, don't worry, there's no cost for alarm. At LogTech, we can help you to get this. We have this at LogTech. All you have to do is just simply, maybe you can send a comment there, or you can get to our mail, send us a mail, and we are definitely going to get this adapter to your doorstep. It is cheap and affordable. All you have to do is contact LogTech. So what this is called, it is called a Wi-Fi adapter, or you can say a wireless adapter. Now, this adapter has several features that we are going to be exploring in this course. It is what we are going to use to hack our networks. Okay, so this is called our wireless adapter, and in fact, this is Atheros ARO9271. Okay, so please do well to contact LogTech to get this adapter, and it will be at your doorstep in no distant time. So going on, let's get started. So right now, I'll be going over to my Kali Linux environment, okay, at the moment. But before that, I mentioned I'm going to show you how to maybe test out some phishing links. Okay, there is a site that is called Virus Total. So I'm going over to that site at the moment. So if I search for Virus Total, if I say Virus Total, or just say virustotal.com, virustotal.com, you hit enter. It's going to open up the Virus Total environment. Okay, so with this tool, it's a site, of course, and this site has in it several security applications that can verify things for you. For example, let's say maybe you receive a file and you want to know if that file is infected or not. You can come to Virus Total and verify the integrity of that file. Or let's say somebody sent you a link and you don't know if the link is legit or not. All you have to do is simply come to Virus Total and then input the link. Now, if it is a file you want to verify, simply click on File and click on this button that says Choose. It will take you to your system. You select the file, it will upload into this environment, and then it would scan the file and tell you if the file has integrity or not. If you are trying to verify a URL, a link, and you don't know how to go about it, simply come to Virus Total, click on URL, and in here on this search bar, just paste the URL there, hit enter, and Virus Total is going to scan the integrity and the authenticity of that link and tell you if it is legit or not. So it is, I think with Virus Total, you have ease trying to tell if a link is suspicious or not. So please, right now, maybe you can pin this on your browser. It can save you a whole lot. Virus Total is your guy when it comes to verifying if a link is a phishing link or if a file is a malicious file. So right now, before we go into our Kali Linux, I want us to go on a short break for some seconds, and I'll be right back with you. Welcome back. So we are going over to my Kali Linux. So over to my Kali Linux, and as you can see, I have my Kali over here, and I'm going to kind of maybe change the view to make it look bigger. Click on view over here to your top left, and I'll click on scaled mode, okay, or let's say full screen mode, and I'll click on switch, and it's bigger now, though it's not going to give me what I want, so I can put it on maybe, let's say, scaled mode. Let's see how scaled mode would look. Okay, that's fine. So now my login is Kali and the password is Kali. Okay, so I'll click on login, and at the moment my Kali opens up, and we are in. So while I'm in, the very first thing I want to do is we are going to use our adapter. Okay, so like I said, that Atheros adapter I just showed you on the slide, okay, it looks like this. And at the moment, I'm going to connect this adapter to my laptop. And once I do so, I'll be having the hackers tool that can help me to see my networks and do several things. I can have it here. Okay, so right now I'm connecting the adapter to my laptop, and right now it is connected. Okay, so how do we know if it is connected? First of all, we are going to do some settings. So right now, simply just a moment, Control C. Okay, thank you. So here now, what I would do is I'll open up, if you look to this top, your top left, some menu bar, icons are there, or some buttons are there. So simply click on devices, and you will see USB. So you click on USB, and if you go to your right, you will see several USB there. In my own case, you can see Atheros USB 9.3. So in this case, this Atheros USB 9.3 is this my adapter that I'm going to be using for this hacking. So I will simply click on the checkbox over there to enable this adapter's connectivity into my Kali Linux machine. Okay, that means I'm plugging this adapter into my Linux machine. So I will click on that box there, and the moment I do so, I would have the connectivity. So if I come over to my command prompt, click on that black screen over there, and right now I'm in my command prompt. So I'm going to maximize this a little more. Okay, so now we are in our Kali Linux command prompt, and the very first thing I want to do is a command called ifconfig. Now, what is ifconfig? Ifconfig is a command that shows you the available network interfaces on your laptop. If you are using a Windows computer, the command is ipconfig, but in Linux, the command is ifconfig. So I will hit enter, and just a moment. So I think I'll have to run that command again due to I zoomed the screen a whole lot. So scrolling up, if you look over here, I have three interfaces on this my machine right now. F0, number one. Number two is L0 or L or LO. Okay, and then we have WLAN 0, WLAN 0. Now, what is F0? F0 is the normal network interface of my Kali Linux, okay? The normal interface that I'll be using to browse. Like in our last class, we used our Linux machine to go to the internet, to go to GitHub, downloaded Black Eye. So there's an interface that allowed me to have that internet connectivity. That interface was F0, this one over here. And you can see F0 has some information here. Things like, you can see this info here that says iNet. What is iNet here? iNet means the IP address on that interface. And you can see my IP and my subnet mask anyways. That's by the way. Also, you can see the MAC address of this my F0. Okay, so scrolling down, our concern is not F0 today, because our concern is not to browse the internet. Our concern is to break and crack networks. So if I say WLAN 0, under WLAN 0, you can see this button here that says Ether, okay, Ether AE, and you can see an information here. Okay, so Ether AE talks about the MAC address of this my network interface. Now, the very first thing you must bear in mind as a hacker is that when you are carrying out a hack, you must carry out your hack on a clean slate. Okay, it is very good to carry out a hack on a clean slate. That means when you are done hacking, you don't want someone to trace you back. And like I said, that your MAC address can be used to trace you. And so if you don't mask or spoof this address, you'll be having problems. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to teach you today is how to set your MAC address to be what you want it to be. But first of all, there's a command I want to introduce you to, and that command is called MAC changer. So if I say MACCHANGER, MAC changer. Okay, now MAC changer is a wonderful tool that is used to, manipulate the MAC address of your machine. So, but first of all, if I say MAC changer space -L, it will show me some already available MAC addresses in my Kali Linux that I can follow over to change my network adapter to now beer. So if I say MAC changer -L, I can see several MAC address templates, and I can choose the one that I want at the moment. Okay, but in this case, we're not going to be using any of these guys. So we're going to learn how to change the MAC of our adapter so that if anybody is trying to track us, they will not be tracking us. They'll be tracking a fake MAC address. All right. So if your MAC address is not cloned or is not masked, you are exposed. Actually, anything you're doing online, you can be tracked. So as a cybersecurity expert or as an ethical hacker, you need to always learn how to stay anonymous. And changing your MAC address is one of those tactics to remain anonymous on a network, on the internet. So how do we change our MAC address? Don't forget, I did ifconfig, and if you look down under -0, this is the MAC address of my network adapter 9E:66:B5:EE:FC. This is my MAC address at the moment. Right now, I can change my MAC address. So how do I change the MAC address of this interface called WLAN0? First of all, I have to shut down the interface. How do we achieve that? By simply saying sudo. Now I am shutting down the interface. The command to shut down the interface is sudo if config space. Then I would call the interface I want to shut down being WLAN0. Then I'll say space down. So sudo if config WLAN0 down would shut down WLAN0. If I hit enter, of course, I'll be asked to put in my login password to authenticate if I am the user that wants to change this thing. Okay, so I'll simply put my password and then hit enter. And at the moment, okay, sorry, I did a typo there. So it has shut down. If I do ifconfig again, you see that WLAN0 is no more seen. We are only seeing F0 and and LO. WLAN0 is no more there because right now WLAN0 has been shut down, has been turned off. So it's as though it's no more existing. So now we have turned off the interface. We can now change the MAC address and then turn it on again, and you would see what it has now received. So the command is MAC changer -M space. Then I will call up the MAC address I want my Wi-Fi adapter to now bear. So you can pick any MAC address. In fact, you can even, I will teach you how to scan a given network and then see the available devices in that network. And then you can copy one of those guys, their MAC addresses, and make it to become your own. And then you can also log out that guy. That's crazy. You can log out somebody from their network. I'm going to teach you how to achieve that. Just stay tuned to this course. Okay, so MAC changer -M. Then I will call up the MAC address I want it to be. So first of all, your MAC address is made up of characters, and these characters are within the range of A to F, 0 to 9. So you cannot go beyond that range. That means in the alphabets, when calling up the MAC address, don't use any alphabet above F, and don't use any alphabet that is not within 0 to 9 anyway. So going on, I'll say, okay, MAC changer dash M, pardon me, I have to put sudo, please pardon me. So sudo space MAC changer dash M. Then I will call up the MAC address I want to assign to this adapter. I can say, okay, maybe let's use, I can say F0 colon 10 colon CD colon 50 colon 20 colon AB. Okay, like I said, it is alphanumerical, A to F, 0 to 9. And right now, I have to ensure that it is complete. Your MAC addresses usually carries up to 6 pieces. So right now, let's count it. The first piece is F0, second is 10, third is CD, fourth is 50, sixth is 20. So we have an extra here. So we're going to clear up AB. So this is our MAC. Okay, yeah, I think I'm correct. So I'll just simply put CD here or AB. So I think it's complete right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So once you're done with that, you give a space, and then now I will call up the interface I am changing the MAC address to. The interface name is WLAN 0. Hit enter, and as you can see, if you look over here, we can see we have an info here saying new MAC. So right now our adapter's MAC address has been changed to what we want it to be. That's crazy. That means if somebody is trying to track me, they cannot get me. They're tracking a dead end. This MAC does not exist actually. Or if it's someone else's MAC address, they will be tracking the person instead and not myself. That's wonderful. So going on, all I have to do is simply turn on the interface again, and let's cross-check if this MAC address has been assigned to our device. So I'll simply say, okay, I would say sudo if config, I'll call WLAN 0, and I'll say space up, and I'll hit enter. And if I say if config this time, WLAN 0 is back, and look at the MAC address we gave to it. So right now, we have succeeded in, first of all, covering our tracks on this network before carrying out our attack. Okay, so right now our MAC has been masked. Okay, the next thing we are going to do now is to set this our adapter to be able to monitor our network. So for this our adapter, there are 2 modes. One is called the managed mode. The other one is called the monitor mode. The managed mode is the regular mode that even your wireless adapter for your laptop has, which enables your laptop to connect to a given network. Okay, it's called the managed mode. Every laptop's network interface uses the managed mode. But you see, going beyond the managed mode, we are actually carrying out monitoring now, network monitoring. So we have to change the mode of this adapter to the monitor mode, and then we can begin monitoring. Okay, so I will teach you how to monitor at the moment. Okay, so if I say sudo, first of all, let's just say iwconfig to see the mode where our adapter is at the moment. So if I say, okay, we can see we have a mode here, and the mode is on managed. That means right now, this adapter would not be able to monitor our network, okay, to monitor or to scan and look for available Wi-Fi's within my region. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is I have to change the settings from manage to monitor, so that when we begin monitoring, we can see the available networks within this area. So all that we have to do is simply say sudo, then m1-ng. But before I will do the setting to be monitored, I will say check kill first, to kill whatever would want to stop my interfere with this interface. Okay, so usually I will do this first: sudo -ng check kill. It's going to kill any process that might want to interfere with this interface from working. Okay, so I'm killing whatever can be the bad belly in quotes for this course. Okay, so I will hit enter, and then at the moment it's going to kill whatever may want to interrupt this adapter. So right now it has killed something called WPA supplicant. Okay, that's fine. Now the next thing is to shift it to become monitor. So I will simply say sudo airmon -ng, then I will say start woolan 0, enter. And at the moment it is changing my interface from managed to monitor. So if I say IW config now, my interface is no more managed. It's now what? Is now monitor. So now we can begin to monitor our network. So one more thing before I let you go, and we are going to continue this in our next class. One more thing before I let you go is I'm going to say sudo arrow dump -ng, okay, and then I will call up the new name that our adapter has now gotten. Now what this is going to do is going to scan my environment, and it will be seeing all the available networks in my environment. So sudo arrow dump -ng, and I will say woolan 0 mon and hit enter. And at the moment, let me zoom out a little bit. Let's see if we can see everything here. So right now, within my region, I can see all the available Wi-Fi's in my region. We can see number one here. We can see MTN 4G. We can see App Station 2. Now we can see this length, but don't worry about this length. Whenever you see a Wi-Fi, let's say you are scanning your area and then you see a Wi-Fi carrying this length and :0, it simply means that that particular network is a hidden network. But it's not a problem. We can always hack it as well, okay? And as we go on, we will be able to see how to achieve that. So I can see 3 networks within my range. MTN 4G underscore 6E1935 2.4 gigahertz. I can see app station 2. I can see app lock 1. Okay. Okay, so going on, I have a question I want to ask. Somebody said, what reasons can make someone to spoof their MAC address? Like I said before now, that there is a cybersecurity technique in regards to your network. So just a moment, let me just close this. So just a moment. So Ctrl+C would stop, this flow from going on. Okay. All right, so I'm going to have to restart my machine at the moment. But what is going on, I want us to know that, like I was saying, that when you see me talking about MAC address spoofing, there is a reason why. And I mentioned that reason earlier on. I said that there are routers, there are networks that the authentication for anyone to log into them requires that the person's MAC address has to be verified. That's number one. So let's say you want to hack into a network, and what they use is MAC address filtering. That means any device that the MAC address is not verified would have to be blocked out. What you have to do at the moment is very, very simple. All you have to do is simply put in your adapter, scan the network, okay? Once you scan the network, you would see who and who is connected to what and what. And then you can copy the verified person, the person who's already logged into the verified user. You can copy his MAC address. As you can see over here, I have several MAC addresses here. I can copy one of them, okay, which I will show you as we go on. I can copy one of them and make it to become my own, and then log out the original person, and then I will be on that network as the original person. So there is a reason. This is one of the reasons. Secondly, also, if you want to be anonymous, let's say somebody is doing trying to verify or trace who is actually causing a havoc in the network. If your MAC address is marked, is spoofed, is cloned, they will not be tracking you. They'll be tracking someone else, okay, because that MAC address is not the MAC address of your device. All right. So in the end, their entire hacking or trying to verify who is behind this, okay, would be centered on trying to get nobody. Okay. So I think at this point we have come to the very first part of this class. Now we are going to continue tomorrow. We've learned how to set our data today. We've learned how to change our MAC address. We've learned how to scan and see the available networks in our region. The next thing we're going to do, which is by tomorrow, we are going to learn how to actually crack a network. So today we've learned how to see the available networks in our region. I scanned and I saw 3 networks. I saw MTN 4G. I saw what do you call it again? Yes, MTN 4G. I saw App Station 2 and I saw App Lock 1. So in our next class, we are going to learn how to actually crack one of these guys, how to crack one of these guys and then log into it. So that will be our objective by tomorrow. Okay, so we are going to draw the curtain over here. And I want to say thank you very much for joining. Also, if you haven't subscribed, please do well to click on the subscribe button. If you haven't followed, do well to click on the follow button. Tomorrow we'll continue here again by 8 p.m. same time, same channel. Okay. And I remain Israel Michael. Thank you very much for connecting with us. I'll see you tomorrow by 8 p.m. Have a blessed evening.